Number one, everything has to have a place. If everything can't be tidied and put away relatively quickly, then we have a problem of too much stuff. And that is going to make staying on top of chores and cleaning and tidying very difficult. So then number two is fairly obvious, right? We need to declutter. It's really almost like a simple math equation, right? If we don't have enough room to be able to put things away, then the only option is to either make more room, which is pretty unlikely, or we can get rid of stuff. And here's the secret. This is the place where I think so many of us have gone wrong in the past. And that is thinking that you declutter once and it's done. And that is just simply not the case. Unless you never, ever, ever bring another thing into your home again after decluttering, it's going to be a process that you have to repeat. So it's going to be a process that either you let build back up again to this mountain and then have to repeat, or develop some kind of a system that you can use so that you stay on top of decluttering and getting rid of things as you go along through life, so it doesn't ever get built back up to that like crazy amount of stuff. That's the way I like to do it. That's my personal recommendation. And in case maybe you're thinking, she doesn't get it. I have so much stuff because I've this going on. I've got kids. I have 8 children, my friend. I hear you. We live on a farm, so we have like our working outside clothes. We got a lot of laundry that we do. My children span from 17 to 4, so like the toys that they're playing with are kind of all over the place in terms of age. I totally get it if you feel overwhelmed by it. But I can tell you that taking the time to go through that process and to develop a system or a plan to stay on top of it has been life-changing for me. Which brings me to number 3, which is to have systems, cleaning routines, homemaking routines that actually work for you. I think far too often we watch videos, we find things online, and we just think we're going to copy and paste someone else's method or way of doing things into our life. That can be successful for a time. If your situation closely matches theirs, it may work. But the reality is that we need individualized plans and routines and systems that work for our unique family. If you want to learn more about how to create one for your family, I do have a workshop on that, so you can check down below in the description box if you want to take that workshop. I'd love to have you. It's all about building your own bespoke, custom routine that will work for you that you can actually stick to. Number 4 is to use baskets, laundry baskets, bins, for tossing stuff into, taking it from room to room, moving things around. This is just like one of my favorite ways of doing things because I really try to do as much at once as possible. So if I know that I need to take some things out here to my cabin area, I'm going to collect them all in a basket and bring them all at once instead of like, well, this thing is in front of me, I'll just take this now and I'll come back for the other stuff later. I really like to give myself no excuses for not just taking care of the thing by utilizing baskets and bins to move things around where they need to go, to sort of collect all the items from one room that don't belong there and then take that basket around and put those items where they actually go. Number 5 is to pare down toys. I'm a big believer in this, okay? It's so important, and it's not because you're being a mean parent and you don't want your kids to have toys and you just don't want to have to clean them up. It's really actually not good for them to have too many toys and a bunch of like explosion of toys in a playroom. It affects their attention span, it affects their creativity. Quite frankly, it affects their ability to take care of their belongings and keep up their end of the bargain as far as being a part of a family and putting up their own toys and cleaning up after themselves. We make it a lot harder. We make it so that they can't even really help until they're much older because they just have so much stuff that it's unrealistic to expect a younger child to be able to help. Making sure that we pare down kids' toys, you can absolutely use the rotation systems where you sort of separate the toys by type and then we rotate them in and out. If you've got a lot of great toys that you don't want to get rid of necessarily, you can always rotate them. But this just keeps our children playing with a small selection of toys for a period of time, and there's so many benefits to that. Which kind of brings me to number 6. Overall, not just on the toys, you got to get your kids to help out. I actually read a study the other day that said one of the biggest predictors of success for our children later in life, that they will be successful adults, is that they had chores when they were kids. It's actually really important for their development, for their understanding of like responsibility, taking care of things. Chores are beneficial. They should not be seen as a punishment. They're a contribution to the family as a whole. We just constantly kind of use that like we're a team language with our family. I mean, we're kind of a team. There's 10 of us. I'm sure there's some sports we could play with just 10 of them. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure there are. So we consider ourselves to be like a family team. So we all have to work together. We really try to keep our kids in that mentality, and I hope that it will serve them later in life. And like I said, if you need the proof, there's a fair amount of research out there to support that chores are actually really beneficial for kids. Number 7 is to do laundry every day. Now, if you're a really small family, you may not need to do this, but once you have a few kids, I have found that trying to save laundry for like one day a week, having a laundry day, it just doesn't work for me, especially because we all know that life happens and inevitably one day the laundry day will coincide with some other crazy thing that's happened and I don't get to laundry day and now I'm really backed up. So for me, having this habit of at least doing one load of laundry every day, now I still do have a laundry day within my routine, but it is in addition to the daily loads of laundry that I do. Number 8, if you have a little bit of trouble with motivation or your kids have trouble with motivation, I have done a video before about like the power of the 10-minute tidy. I'm a big fan of the 10-minute tidy. But you can also use a timer to help motivate yourself, motivate your children. I really love this idea because even though we are full-grown adults here, timers are just really great to keep you from getting distracted, off track. Like, you know that timer's going in the background and there's something in us that's like, I don't know, competitive or whatever, that's like, I'm gonna get this done before the timer buzzes. Timers are great. They're a great tool for focus, concentration, productivity, and just in general keeping us on track of getting the things done within the time frame. Otherwise, if you're anything like me, I'm off in la la land 2 minutes in. Number 9 is to keep your counters clear of clutter. This one has been really big for me. I didn't used to do this, and I still have more on my counters than maybe somebody else who abides by this philosophy would, but it's very intentional. I have like little cozy corners with a lamp and a candle, but I try not to have a bunch of stuff on the counter because I don't know what it is about the little trinkety stuff, junky things, but they breed on the countertop. And it seems as though clutter invites more clutter. If we keep our countertops clear, then all of a sudden that one thing that you just set down, like because you were too lazy to put it where it went, it really looks out of place. And you notice it much more than if you just set it down in addition to the 10 other things that are already sitting on the countertop, hanging out together, instead of going to their home, to their organized home, in their labeled bin, or wherever they should be. They're just being all cluttery on your countertop. Number 10, and one of my personal favorites, is to clean the bathroom while your kids are in the tub or while you're in the shower. I've gotten in the habit of doing this over the last few years, and it really helps me a ton. It's kind of funny because I'm in there in the shower with like a scrubber and like cleaning grout. I don't know what it is about cleaning showers that makes me like sweat, and you need the water coming down, then you end up getting like wet, your pants get wet, your feet get wet. I don't know what it is. I either do it right when I get in the shower or I save it for the end, just depending on what kind of cleaners I'm planning to use and how deep we're going with this deep clean. And then when my kids are in the tub in my bathroom downstairs, my younger ones, then I'll clean the toilets, I'll sweep the floor, I'll mop. I mean, you gotta be in the bathroom with them anyways, making sure that their heads are above water. So you might as well be cleaning and getting something done while you're in there. Sometimes I even use that time to like declutter a cabinet or go through my skincare and toss what's expired. We have to use the little pockets of time that we have as moms, especially when our time for this stuff is tight anyways. Number 11, and boy, oh boy, have I learned the life lessons of this one in the last couple of years. Having the right tools and products for the job. Now this, it definitely crosses over into every area. With all of our home projects and stuff, my husband and I have seen how important having the right tool for the job is, how much easier it makes the job. And it's a lot the same with cleaning. If you have a really great vacuum, a great mop, if you have the tools that get the job done or help you, it's going to go so much faster. Like, I love my steam shot, okay? I have like an ongoing thing with a few of my friends here on YouTube because some love it, some don't. But I love the steam shot. I get so much use out of it. It really helps me to get in and clean grout especially. We live in a very humid climate and mold and stuff really likes to pile up on the grout in our bathrooms very, very quickly. I also have a great like steam mop that you can use to clean walls, glass, the floor, anything. It's awesome because it does all of the cleaning just with steam. No cleaners, no toxins, nothing. And boy, does it get stuff clean. I'm so impressed by this thing. So I have a few tools like that that I really love and I really feel like help the process to go faster, smoother, and get results. And that to me, it has such an outsized impact. Small investment into the right tools, the right products, and I don't have to have a ton. I just need the right ones. And I think a lot of us can get caught up in that. We just buy all the things and try all the things, which is fun. I love trying cleaning products. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you find the one that works and you find the right one, then we just have to like stop and here we go. This is it. This is what I need to buy. I don't need to buy 50 more of these. I just need to buy this product that works really well and stick with it. And I will link for you down below in the description box my favorite cleaning products that I use daily, as well as some of my favorite organizational bins and tools that we use to organize different areas of our home that have really stood the test of time and lasted. Not only the product, but how we used it to organize has stuck for a few years now, which means it's working. Number 12 is to have shoe bins. Now, if you have a lot of little kids or just kids in general, shoe bins are the best because no matter what, kids are a little bit, it's not so much that they're lazy, it's just that they're so easily distracted and they're very like, want to get to the next thing, what am I doing? So they're not always great at like taking their shoes off and putting them tidy on like a shelf or whatever. They kind of like to toss them. So my feeling is that there are some hills I'm going to die on and some I'm not. And fighting them to line up their shoes into perfectly, organized little lines, I'm not dying on that hill. And it's not so easy for my younger kids to do that. So having shoe bins and a place where my kids can just like slide it open, drop their shoes in, close it and go. The expectation, at least in my house, is that like, hey, a well-trained monkey can do this, you can do it too. I love having systems like that that really simplify things so that it makes it easy for my kids to follow the rules that I put in place. Number 13 is to label bins and drawers for kids. We want our kids to help out. We want them to contribute more, but sometimes it's hard for them to remember. And if they're old enough to read, it's great to give them that reminder of like what goes where. And if they're not old enough to read, then you can definitely use picture labels is another great way for some of my kids to be able to know what goes where. So for our family, this really helps increase autonomy with our kids. We want them to be able to do things as much on their own as possible, to take care of their own things, assignments, chores, all of that kind of stuff. And so if I have an expectation that I want them to put away the blocks and, coloring stuff, but I don't want it to all just get tossed somewhere, I want it to get put away correctly where it goes, then I'm going to do everything I can on my end to make that easy for my children to do, right? I always like to remind myself, and I'll remind you too, that many of the things that we as parents care about, our kids don't care about at all. It means nothing to them. They have no investment, no personal investment in that thing looking the way we want it to or staying the way we want it to. It's not because they don't care about us, it's because they don't care about that thing. And if we stop for a moment and like translate that to ourselves, right? If we were expected to do something that we just didn't care about, how much harder is it for us to stay on top of those things that we're just like, ugh, I have no interest in this whatsoever. Kids are the same way, but without the fully developed brain to go along with it. So in all fairness, if I'm going to ask my children to care about something that they don't naturally care about, then I'm going to do everything I can to set up a system or a way for them to do that thing that makes it as easy as possible for them to follow my rules. Like my rules are not traps. I'm not trying to catch them up in doing something wrong and aha, you didn't follow my rule. The rule's there because there's a good reason for it. So I want to make them as easy to follow for my kids as possible. And lastly, this is a favorite one, is to make a snack drawer or snack area with approved snacks for your kids. One of the things that we as parents can get really sucked down the rabbit hole and time wasting is getting snacks constantly for our kids. especially, again, I have 8 children, and so, you know, people are eating at different times. They need snacks at different times depending on age and stuff like that. So I really like to make it so that once my child reaches a certain age, about 4 to 5 years old, I can allow them to get a snack when they would like one from the approved snack area. So if you've got one of those cool fridges that's like, you know, the French doors, and then you have a drawer right here that's like the snack drawer, you can put stuff there where the kids can reach it. If you've got an area in your pantry that you can just have a basket or a pull-out like wire drawer or something where there's like mom approved snacks in there, and the kids know that they can go in and grab their own snack when it's snack time, or when they've asked you and you've said, sure, you can have a snack, bud, then they can go in and get it themselves. Again, this is all about increasing autonomy so that we can stay on top of the things that we want to stay on top of and that matter to us and that we need to. We don't have to get stopped every 10 seconds by kids. They can contribute to the family in some ways. I don't love the narrative that like, oh, kids are just a burden and they just make everything harder. It's not true. And I think that the way that we raise them, the way that we include them in things and show them like why these things matter and why we care, and the more fair we can be with our expectations and setup of things, the more successful our kids can be in following through. All of these little daily habits have helped me as a mom with 8 kids to have a tidier and more peaceful home.